Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And as we left off previously, we are now at a crossroads inside Jabu Jabu. And I'm still not exactly sure how you're supposed to kill these things without the boomerang. I mean, all other attempts that I remember... Yeah, see, because anything you do, it just shocks you. And it can get pretty damaging after a while, because... I mean, yeah, any hit that you go against on them will kill them in one hit, but that means you get hurt in the process as well. So it's an eye for an eye, counterintuitive type of fighting here. Now, this was me kind of lost, not really sure where to go. Like, I kind of knew I had an idea of where to go, but I didn't know the correct order. It's been a while, as I said, since I played this game. Yep, and here's me going, oh yeah, these blue switches, you need Rudo. This is exactly why you need Rudo. She is your pick up and movable block. I think it was Legend of Zelda Link to the Past that introduced the concept of blocks being pushed onto switches just to keep them open. So Rudo is kind of like an addition to that type of concept. She's not too happy that you left her there, of course. But I mean, what other choice did you have? You need to leave her there. So she's going to berate you at least once in this particular playthrough of the dungeon. Now, obviously, as I said, I kind of had a loose idea of where I was supposed to go, and I chose poorly. I had a 50-50 shot, and I actually needed to go down the right pathway. So you need the combined weight of yourself and Rudo to push that switch down, but you don't need to leave her here. Although I'm probably going to leave her there anyway. Forgot that I did that. Now, you didn't have a need to fight these creatures before in the dungeon, but now you do. You actually have to kill everything in this room. So this is the first and I think only time you actually need to fight these creatures in the game, but I could be wrong. I do think they appear later in the water temple. But you can either wait for them to kind of dive bomb you and you attack them with the sword, which is a little bit more of a risky option. Or you can do what I'm doing here and attack them from afar with your slingshot. Either way works. And a reward for your efforts, you actually get the major dungeon item of the game, which pretty much solves the rest of the dungeon for you. Now here, the boomerang in Ocarina of Time is far more useful and way more deadly and damaging than its previous incarnation in past games. Where in past games, other than killing, small enemies and stuff like that, and then stalling others, this pretty much kills most enemies outside of anything that walks on two legs. So most of these enemies that we encounter in this dungeon specifically will get destroyed by the boomerang. And here's me not realizing what the heck happened to Rudo. So I did a little freak out, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Where is Rudo? But the solution is simple. You have to go back all the way to where you first found her, where you saw her, which was right here in the big room, right before she fell down the hole. So she will always default to this location. So if you can't find her anywhere else in the dungeon and you've lost a hold of her, before the scripted scene where you will lose a hold of her, proof of concept, the boomerang works. But if you do happen to lose her, come back here and she will be here waiting for you. And to berate you again. So now that we killed one thing, we have to actually go back to this switch. Go back to the one other room that is open to us. And kill this little dangling... I wouldn't say uvula, but something weird inside the stomach of Jabu Jabu that needs to be killed. In fact, I don't think there's actually a real name for this particular enemy other than Tentacle. So it's a little unclear. But one way or the other, you're going to have to explore all branches of these these rooms here in the, I guess you could say, the colon of Jabu Jabu. We're in the colon right now. Kind of gross, a little bit. Kind of seems like it. Yeah, if we entered in the entrance of the mouth at the bottom part of the map, then the top part would be the butt of Jabu Jabu. So we're in Jabu Jabu's butt area where his colon and stuff is. So that begs the question, what are these dangling things in these rooms? I don't know. Blockages or something. Crazy, crazy blockages in his bowels. You know, I've never actually gotten this timer to go all the way down to 0 seconds in any of my playthroughs, honestly. So I honestly don't know what would happen if I were to fail. If worst comes to worst, you can just run right into the bubbles and kill them. Yeah, you get hurt, but that'll still get rid of it for you. And based on the number of large chests you find in dungeons, this should be the compass. Just makes sense. Now, one thing I did notice in these moving texture passages, it isn't just a visual effect. I mean, if you actually just sit still and watch the passage and the textures move down the corridors of the Jabu Jabu's colon, you actually move with the texture. Like, it's actually moving. It's like a small little conveyor belt, if you will. And it will drag you down wherever direction the textures are moving along the walls and ceiling and floor. So, a little interesting bit of detail that. And it's really interesting that everything, even if it's not a texture on the wall that's moving, everything is like undulating and pulsating and moving all on its own. And it's a little nerve-wracking. Like, there is no still parts of the dungeon. Everything is constantly in motion, even if it's not dragging you somewhere. Now this, we get a little bit of a difficult situation. Before, we had the tentacles just by themselves. Now, we have some enemies to contend with. So, advice, get rid of them before you actually have to move in for the tentacle itself. That's one less thing for you to worry about. I mean, the overall patterns of these tentacles aren't really that different from one to the next. It's just that one has a different swinging trajectory than the other, and I guess it executes it faster than the previous tentacle you faced. Beyond that, they're all pretty simple to kill. And I think we're done, because we needed to kill that last tentacle to remove one last blockage, right here. It was blocking this hole. So you want to fall down this hole with Rudo, get to an upper ledge you couldn't get to otherwise, and move on to the mini-boss. Actually, this is the first real dangerous mini-boss of the game. Even the game calls it out. Like, hey, I was supposed to get that spiritual stone. Why does Rudo get it? Well, if he swallowed you, you probably dropped it inside anyway because you were inside to begin with. Sun boss fight. Now this boss, this mini boss, oh my gosh. I can't recall how many times I died to this thing. Because obviously it chases you down, and then when it hits you, it turns around and goes running back the other way to chase you down in the other direction to hit you again. And its only weak point, of course, is on its backside, which you can't get to unless you chase them around this platform. Now, if you run along the edge of the arena, you're never going to make up the distance to get close enough to hit him with the boomerang. So you have to run a little close to the spikes. Yeah, that didn't work very well. And of course, getting close to the spikes is not helpful, because if you get hurt by them, and your health will slowly drain down as you're trying to chase after the octopus here. And of course, every now and then, like he just did, he'll switch directions of the platform as well as his direction of travel. So you gotta flip around as well. But this boss gave me so much trouble. It was literally one of the worst times of my young life playing this during the Christmas season when I got this during one of the Christmases when I was young. I just could not beat this guy for the longest time. I mean, for one, I had to figure out that I needed to use the boomerang, because this is the first game since Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time that actually used the tactic of using the item of the dungeon item against the bosses. So it didn't really occur to me that this was the method that they were using in terms of game design. So I was trying to figure out, hey, maybe if I get close enough to hit him with the sword, then maybe he'll stop or something. But no, you got to stop him with the boomerang, because if you get too close to try and strike him with the sword by yourself, he'll just dive down into the water and then appear behind you and then start the process all over again. So very, very difficult, especially for newcomers to the 3D realm of gameplay. And these little wagging tongues, you don't want to waste too much time on them, because they will unthaw, as it were, and start wagging again and hurt you. Not really sure why they'd be painful to touch, but eh. And this is a permanent shortcut to the beginning of the dungeon. And of course, this is a small clue bird. This is a blue switch. If you've learned nothing from earlier in this dungeon, you need to find something to put on it to stay on it, so the switch doesn't pop back up again. So obviously there's two convenient boxes here. If you happen to, for whatever reason, destroy them, you just exit and re-enter, and then they'll be there for you again. Developer foresight. As I said, once you got the boomerang, the rest of this dungeon pretty much opens up to you in terms of difficulty. Like, there's nothing that really poses a threat to you anymore other than the mini-boss and the boss itself. And then here was me coming up to the exit to the room and figuring, oh, I still need to find a switch. You gotta climb up here. You gotta figure out that, hey, you're too far away to reach that. This spider web is blocking your shots from the slingshot. So you're gonna need to use the boomerang to swing back around the web so you can hit the switch. Overall, for a water level, it really isn't that bad in terms of puzzles and things you need to solve. That comes later. Okay. Now, for my young mind, still new to playing in 3D worlds, just like the octopus, this boss ended up being a lot harder than it ever really needed to be. I can almost liken this to Argus from the Water Dungeon and Link to the Past in the Dark World, the second temple. It's similar in nature, but it does have a couple extra tricks up its sleeve. Like, you gotta disentangle it from the ceiling there, while all the while avoiding its lightning blast from its radar dishes? I don't know what to call those. They look like little liquid, or not liquid, flesh radars. And this will actually get him moving. And he actually has quite the range. A lot of range on some of these jellyfishes that he can swing way outward. Now, you typically want to get rid of a few of them as he stops before he brings the... Oh, well, that worked too. I forgot I hit him earlier. So you either get rid of all his jellyfish or strike him with the boomerang to stun him, and then he'll switch to a second phase where he's actually a little bit more mobile than he was before. And this time, the jellyfish are protecting him a lot better than previously. He keeps him close to his body. So you kind of have to wait until he stops, and then go in for the kill. Unfortunately, he's learned from his past mistakes, and he's not going to give you the hits that easily. He retreats down into the ground. So the only option now is to just get rid of the rest of his jellyfish. Because these ones... That was a good hit. That was a good hit on me. You have maybe enough time to get rid of one jellyfish. All jellyfish gone, he's now in full attack mode. There's no more jellyfish to go after you. And now he's just striking with impunity with all of his laser blasts. There's nothing you can do at this point right now in the battle. Just avoid all of his lightning beams. Overall, he really isn't a hard boss. This is actually going to be the last easy boss you'll face in the game. It's just that in terms of the first 3 initial dungeons, he is definitely a step up from King Dongo and Goma. By far. He's leagues beyond them. And lots of green blood everywhere. Because sensors! And a heart container I am going to ignore. Oh! Ruta was fine all along. How the heck did she get transported to this room? And I think it was this game, at least with this dungeon, that introduced the concept of having a companion go through dungeons with you, which was later expanded upon in Wind Waker. Uh-oh. Here's the launcher of a ship right here. Ruto. She got the hots for a little boy here. Simmer down! You got like at least a good 10 years. 7 to 10 years before you're both able to be married. Cool your jets there, Ruto. Back out now, Link! Back out now! You don't need that sapphire! You don't need it that bad! It's not like she's gonna give you much of a choice. You're gonna give it to you anyway. She's like, yep, you're gonna be my husband. That's it. No questions. So she leaves him with the engagement ring and then goes back to her father as if nothing happened. Oh, I didn't just get engaged to a young Hylian boy. No big deal, Dad. That's gonna be a rough talk sometime in the near future. Her most precious possession? You don't know what she's talking about, but you finally collected all 3 spiritual stones. Nice job, Nintendo, getting that past the radar. Just saying. Yeah, let's keep this a secret. Bad, Ruto. Bad. With that, we'll end the video here, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.